Because city skylines really help us make better decisions than our current flood models. There's only one way to find out. In part 1 of this video, I showed you how we use model chains to predict flooding. These chains are a series of different types of models that pass information in one direction to each other until the initial data is in a useful form for someone, somewhere to make a decision. A typical chain would start with observations of the weather, moving to models of the atmosphere, to models of hydrology, a hydraulic model of flood inundations, and finally an economic model of damages. City Skylines, however, although missing many of those earlier steps, looks to be able to model the impacts of flooding in a much more sophisticated way. It meshes together the hydraulic model with an agent-based model that simulates the behaviours of people and buildings individually. This means that responses to flooding are dynamic, and it can go beyond simply adding up average damage values for every property covered by floodwater. It can tell the story of the flood, how roads are blocked and people can't get around, how people and businesses long ways away from the floodwater still see impacts, just like they would in real life. Our flood models are just not able to do that. So why do we not use city skylines? Can this game really do it better? Well, you probably guessed it, but the too long didn't watch is no. There's no danger of city skylines taking over our flood modelling anytime soon. In a previous video, up there, I created a flood in the game and it looked realistic, but was it really? The game is designed to be a game, not a flood model. So it optimises your experience as a player to make it fun. It doesn't need to be realistic, it just needs to feel real to you as the player. And this is all about the way it creates a world with its own rules and the way the player accepts those rules. The game is not played in real time, obviously. Otherwise it would just be incredibly boring to play and you may as well just get a job as a planner in your local council. But if we think of it as in the way that we think about models, about what is useful, it is making simplifications and it's manipulating time by speeding it up to make the game more useful. Processes are sped up too. You build a road in the game, it appears instantly. Buildings may take a few seconds to build, maybe that's a few days within the game, but it's not the months they do in the real world. You need to see things develop before your very eyes, so you get that feedback that keeps you playing. But this is where games like City Skylines really do something interesting with that lagerie, the perceived time. The game is not just sped up in comparison to the real world, different elements of it are sped up to different degrees. Let's follow this chap, Albert Peters, an individual agent within the agent-based model of the game. They are an educated teen, a high school student, and they are driving home, presumably from their school. Keep your eye on the clock in the bottom left of the screen here. If you can't quite make it out, we picked him up at the beginning of his journey on the 12th of November 2046. The movement of the car looks sensible to me. The car is moving along and passing buildings at a pace that looks realistic. It is helping my immersion into the game. Albert drives obliviously past flooded buildings, with the chaos of that disastrous flood playing out just behind the houses that are on the right hand side. You can see the warning signs ahead saying that these bus stops are disconnected, and that's because distant bus routes are flooded. Albert turns down the street, getting close to their home. Here we get a spectacular view of the Floodsoften district submerged under floodwater. Albert drives through the floodwater. You should never do this. Many people who die during floods do so trapped in cars, so don't risk it. They're now getting close to their home, and you can see the flood storage land behind the houses is well flooded, but the houses themselves are dry. They drive a little further and we get some good views of Floodsoften, wet dwells in the distance, and the peninsula ahead. They arrive home on the 22nd of November. It has taken Albert 10 days to get home. How slowly were they driving? The game has created a world that moves faster than the real world. Albert's 10-day journey took just 1.5 minutes for us, and we accept that pace as it looked realistic. To make things feel real, and to make sure players get regular feedback, games developers finely tune the pace that different things happen. Buildings get thrown up in a day, and it takes someone a week and a half to drive home. But if they were more realistic, cars would whiz by faster than you'd be able to see them, and buildings would be constructed agonisingly slowly. Water is similarly affected. It moves astonishingly slowly in the game, and this gives players time to react. A large flood like the one I subjected West Valley to would last a few days, maybe a week or two in the real world, yet it lasted nearly a year in the game. So the flood I made was nothing like a real world flood. But if it was, it would be over really quickly and would just seem weird and out of place in the world that the game has created. So we can see that once we really just dig a little bit into it, City Skylines can make something that might look and feel like a real flood, but is actually quite different and is not that useful to us at all. But it does demonstrate to us the potential for an integrated model to help us understand the full impacts of flooding. Agent-based models for research use evidence of human behaviour and psychology to inform them. But we simply do not have any data from enough events, because they're quite rare, to actually check whether the predictions these models make are correct and they're telling us the right things. This unfortunately means that we cannot trust the information that agent-based models give us enough for us to make decisions from them. But this is something which may change in the future, and maybe our models of the future will increasingly look like the games of today. I would really love to grow this channel and to find an audience of people who are interested in learning more about models and learning more about flooding. I would really like your help. So thank you for watching this video, but if you could also just press like as well, and also subscribe to the channel. These really small acts really do help me make friends with that YouTube algorithm, which will in turn help me reach that audience. It'll also mean that you won't miss future videos as well. But for now, thank you for watching, and stay dry out there.